Okay, so now we're arriving at.
Hey, dude, a Ferris wheel! Clearly, we are
left the
in
previous heap of
the Krogan amusement parks. We are at Krogan Six Flags.
You and Morden stay with Eve.
Let's get on some Ferris wheels, man. Forget this mission.
Six Flags over at Chachunka.
Hey guys, I'm just gonna take all your stuff. I have a feeling you won't be needing it in a few minutes. It's just a gut feeling. You know what? I'm 100% wrong all the time. I'm just gonna steal this, and if you want it back, you can come look me up after the next cutscene.
You know, I'm always. You know what I kind of want to see now? Slightly unrelated to what's actually going on, but very related to what Chris just
Oh yeah,
said.
there's a Reaper.
So, you guys ever been to Universal Studios Williamsburg, where they have, like, basically they have, like, a Ireland section, they have, like, a France section, they have, like, a Europe section, and each of the sections is kind of like an over-the-top parody of what that area is like, you know, with extremely overdone flavor. I kind of want to see
that's
that
how we
for
do
an
it in
alien
America.
world.
Yeah, what would that be like for Chachunka? It would just be a pile of rubble. Except a tall pile of rubble.
Yeah, but
Oh look!
you mean Busch Gardens?
Shockingly,
Yeah,
our
no, Busch
plan's not
Gardens,
working!
No, not Universal Studios. Busch Gardens, that's right.
I don't care
Kinda
if we
wrong.
have to build a new road. We're going.
Wait a minute,
been
you're
a while
telling
since
me
I've been
that
to Busch Gardens.
fighters can't destroy a Reaper?
Shepard.
Really?
Well,
Well, that
only in
flies in the
Star
face
Wars,
of.
and this ain't no Star Wars.
It flies in the face of
Huh,
all the
I guess my
evidence we've gathered
gut
so
feeling
far.
was right.
Get the female out of here now.
It came from behind.
You know, I really do like this the narrative closure this mission provides. This mission is the best mission because it actually wraps up a lot of very important mythos stuff and a lot of really good characters.
Wait, so let me get that
Yeah.
straight. Did they just like drive into the ground here or something, or were
Yeah,
they somehow able to jump this?
I was very confused at this cutscene, like, wait, where are the trucks going? I don't understand why. Just why did
Don't worry,
things happen
guys.
the way they just did?
Well, that's what I was going to
We're
say.
in the
is that,
Corbin
like,
level of KOTOR now.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like this level's really good, or this mission's really good for narrative purposes. From a gameplay standpoint, going on a worm hunt and then this in the dark and then chasing this giant worm boss and
That was me trying to jump
it doesn't
again, by
play
the way.
very well.
How do we get out?
No maps exist. It's been abandoned for thousands of
I think this is pretty hackneyed stuff, where they talk about these mysterious ancient ruins that nobody ever goes into. And you're like, it's right here. Why would...
now they have
Like, we don't have mysterious ancient ruins on Earth, it's, you know, that we don't ever look at. In fact, those are points of interest. We always are looking for new ancient ruins to check out.
Rex.
Yeah, I actually
don't
kicked off like I kicked off a Dungeons and Dragons campaign recently, and like one of the hooks early on is like, oh, there's like some ruins near the road, and they're like going, oh man, is there gonna be like magical artifacts there? And the townspeople are like, those ruins are 5,000 years old. They've pretty much been picked over by now.
I walked up to this cutscene or to this fresco and rolled at it and obtained 8,250 credit.
Wow.
It's a performance
I
piece.
have
No, it's
clearly I am
It's-
blessed by the ancient Krogans.
if you press use on all the things like there, you get money for hitting for researching Krogan history.
It's the awesome button.
Because you pointed your gun at a thing.
Rex.
Oh look!
I
remember
guess-
that time when we killed the Rachni dudes? Oh, I guess there's the Reapers still have some Rachnis, and they're gonna be enemies from now on.
I didn't have a problem with there being these tunnels here. I did have a problem with them being ancient and mysterious.
Love to have spent time here studying these ruins.
Well,
And
like,
them trying to
including-
sell
I didn't
us
think it was
something. But she knew all this stuff about it, even though nobody knew anything about it, and the game's trying to have it both ways. And just say nobody bothers to come here. That's all you need. We knew about it, but we don't
All that
need
said,
it.
as bad as BioWare's art direction has gotten over the past several years, I really did like this sequence. Like, this is a cool vista,
This is one
Okay.
of those few cool vistas
and
in the game.
exploring the dark, dusty catacombs was pretty cool for like the
Rex, we need
5
back
minutes.
Okay, I'm missing like a one detail here, but us going into these tombs in the first place was opportunistic, right? It was like we had a plan, and
Right.
the plan went wrong, so we ran in here. Well, why didn't they just have it so that, like, when all the rockets were coming down, blowing up the landscape, one of them uncovered the entrance to the tunnels, so you could run through?
I
so,
think
you
it
know, you're
did.
Like, there's cover.
When we get there, will be another.
Oh, well, okay, that makes sense. I mean, if there's no other
job,
way
Russ.
in,
Yeah, I
missed
don't.
that.
I don't know. That scene, like, where the trucks seem to drive away, but wait, where are they? Wait, why are? No, I don't get it.
Oh,
Okay,
but
fine. I'll just go
actually,
shoot
the
guys.
theory is kind of blown
Oh,
away by
God.
the fact that there's all these ruins out here that are apparently pretty well explored.
Yeah. And one thing that does frustrate me about this: where do the Krogan live? It's all ruins. Don't they live somewhere? Don't they? Do they really live in piles of rubble? Is that their natural habitat?
Well, I was under the impression
They
that
have
most of the
homes?
Krogan left the planet.
Yeah, it's like that they're basically space drifters. They're space
They're
hobos.
Mandalorians, you guys.
But then,
That
isn't
trope
that already
hasn't
the
gotten
plot for the
overused yet.
Quarians?
It isn't over yet.
That's already.
Well,
Quarian.
yeah, except the Quarians have their Battlestar Galactica fleet, and the Krogan just like left to become space mercenaries.
Man, rebuilding sucks. Let's just leave. Let's just go crash somewhere else.
What the?
Let's go to the let's go to the Turian homeworld and sleep on their couches.
I would love to see, and maybe this exists, and I'm not aware of it. Like a divide in Krogan philosophy, where you have self-hating Krogans, I guess. Krogans for whom they think their species is basically lost. With the genophage in place, they feel like their empire, their world has been ruined. They don't have any hope, and they're just sort of depressed. And then you have guys like Rex and Reeve, who are real traditionalists and real big on one day, you know, Chichanka will rise from the ashes, and you could have these two characters,
But
two
that would
character
detract
archetypes,
from
like, play
their-
off each other.
That would detract
That
from their
would be-
images as space badasses. You can't do
Well, you can
that,
still have
Chris.
them.
That would give characterization to the species that's just a planet of hats.
Yeah, I always did like.
What kind of writer are you?
They invented nuclear weapons on their own, so they are at least as capable as humans. They're not all.
Everybody just teleported to me. What was that?
So they're not complete mindless war monsters that we sometimes think of them as. I mean, it takes a certain amount of cooperation to make a nuke, and
Yeah, I mean, that's
quite
the
a bit of
thing.
science. And I would like to
You
have
might be
seen a bit
surprised how
more
many
of that.
how many steps of the process of designing and perfecting a nuclear weapon don't involve headbutting people, but instead involve carefully studying objects in your environment, forming hypotheses that build upon one another until you can even begin to conceptualize the existence of this energy, let alone the fact that it could be harnessed as a weapon.
Rex, is your plan to run around in circles until Kalroth gets tired?
And the thing is, I bet Rex is in
Because that looks
Okay.
exactly like what you're doing.
He's
Okay,
praying to
here-
Fancy, patron saint of kiting.
Now, I did not like how Mass Effect felt the need to move away from storytelling and world building with each environment and just do set piece stunt gameplay. But if you are going to do that sort of thing, this is how you do it. A giant space worm fighting a Reaper. I mean, really,
God damn it, Seamus, you're
it-
spoiling everything.
well, I mean, you could see this coming a mile away. By this point in the game, they're like, oh, the legendary Thresher Maw, Kalros, and you're like, oh no, it's coming, and you're like, okay, this is like Godzilla and Mothra. Sooner or later, you know they're going to wind up in the frame
How
together.
hilarious would it be if they just did a whole anti-climax fake out there? It's like, oh yeah, Kalros is coming to fight the Reaper, and it just shoots it once, and Kalros falls over dead. And then you're just like, well, fuck. I guess we need a new plan.
Turns out that some alien species, when they get older, do not get tougher.
I mean, the science behind this is kind of you can nitpick this thing to death, but if we're willing to forgive all that, at least it gave us. At least we're getting the big action. Like so many of the action set pieces in this game are like fight Cerberus in rubble, fight Cerberus in rusty Rustland. And it's like, that's not really, like, we gave up all that cool science and thinky stuff for this.
So,
but okay, if we're gonna have
apparently
a show,
Reeve
let's have a
just
show.
died. But I thought we were getting into Reeve's car that whole time. Did you have that kind of reaction? Like, it stops and then it goes to Reeve and it's like, oh, we're getting in Reeve's car, well, Rex distracts him. No, apparently that was Rex. And Reeve was just getting his ass kicked.
It was very... They should have color-coded the cars differently. I know that's a tough sell here, but really, the cars needed
One
to
of them
stand
could
out
be
from the
red, one of them
environment.
could be blue, and one of them could be green.
Look at that frame and how much of that is the same color, the same saturation. It's just varying levels of brightness.
This idea you were talking about is a good
Oh, it's just so much of it turns into mush. The cars should have stood out, and we should have been able to tell who was who based on what vehicle. That would have solved about half the problem here. Of wait, what? Who's driving what, and where are they going, and why?
Legends say she is the mother from which all other Thresher Maws spawn. This is as much her home as ours.
If Tuchanka has a temper,
You guys ever see King Kong vs. Godzilla? Now that's a fine piece of cinema.
We flew through the Omega-4 relay and
Oh, why did you have to bring that up,
we can do this.
Shepard? God damn. I wanted to forget about that whole stupid suicide mission.
Her was built in an arena devoted to Kalros's glory. The Solarians thought she would scare away intruders.
Appears to have worked.
There are 2 Maw hammers there.
Those are interesting statues.
Appears to have worked, he says, as a Reaper crawls around in the background.
Meanwhile, laboratory nearby.
Yep.
I would have pegged the Krogans as having a realist art.
We know why we're here and we're at stake.
As a counterpoint to the colors, which I agree are just washed out and bad, I liked the architectural design here. It felt a lot like a callback to KOTOR and Korriban.
and a sister to me.
See,
Every Krogan born after this
it
day
felt like a bad
named
callback
Shepard
to that stuff.
will lead.
Maybe,
It
but
felt like a combination of like the two most tired and overused things, which is the generic, shapeless, empty temple
Paragon
motif
interrupt.
and the
Shift
and
and
the-
shake slightly.
industrial rubble motif.
You know what I like to see when I see ruins in games? I like to see some evidence of what the fuck the ruins were, and like what
Yeah.
anybody could have possibly been doing in them before they became dungeons.
Right, like just big empty hallways that don't have rooms, it's just tunnels. It's like thousands of years ago, our ancestors built this place so that they could shoot dudes in corridors.
Note their masterful integration of the frescoes into the chest-high wall. Many of these works are being restored from the 60 bullet holes of the final inaugural shoot fest that marks the end of Krogan civilization as we know it. They also
See,
had paint
this
on
guy's-
Friday.
Direction.
See what we're doing here, guys? This is a cultural experience. This shooting dudes in the face, this is our cultural heritage.
This is colonial Williamsburg right here.
Ah. It's a gun. We don't want it.
Unattended is going to
And if
offer
that
you a
don't
gun,
work, use more
just
gun.
like the one they used, just like the one the Krogans used. You're like, wow, I can fire this gun all I want and it never runs out of ammo. How did people get her along those many years ago?
How do you miss at this range with your laser gun?
What? You would have to be some kind of computer to be able to hit something in that distance.
I
That's
think Seamus is
almost
right.
a mile.
Well, you're not even shooting at me anymore. You're like, hey, look, these pillars look like good target practice. Except you're a computer, you don't need to practice.
I can't believe
This sequence would be more at home in a Gears of War.
What the
honestly,
fuck?
it's a giant set piece epic battle. This is not why people remember this mission or why people think this mission is probably the best part of the game.
Goddess be with them.
I'm sure the Reaper is real concerned about your point defense weapon.
It's just such a microcosm of all the problems that the game has in a larger sense. Because when the writing is on par and it works, it's a really beautiful game, and then it's 30 minutes of shooting dudes.
By the way, fuck this segment.
You don't like fighting the brutes?
No, it's not the brutes that I have problems with. I once soloed every single one of these brutes without taking any damage. The problem is the goddamn insta-kill hammer leg. Wow. That ragdoll did some weird shit. I think that was the insta-kill hit for that, because I had full shields there.
So
no, I'll show you
damage,
this.
huh?
I've done it before.
Yeah.
It spawns like 5 of these.
You know, Josh, you don't
But
know
it's
this. I'm the best at Hitman. I just in and out like a ghost.
It's just goddamn. You walk up here and he drops his foot on you.
I tried to ignore the brute. I tried to just like skate around them. I didn't want to fight a bunch of brutes. I just wanted to push all the buttons. But stuff is triggered. The way through is triggered by killing them. So that's kind of frustrating.
It is.
Any of you guys ever watched me play Oblivion in my streams? I have a very distinctive playstyle. So most of the quest lines for like the expansion, for example. And,
right.
like,
It was run around.
I'm getting to that. I'm getting to that. So
Past everything.
basically, they're dungeon mazes with like a few buttons you need to press at various points in the dungeon, and then a thing you need to pick up, and then you're done. So there's really no reason to actually fight the 50 completely identical monsters in the dungeon. So I would just run and jump over their heads and like run around pressing the buttons, and they couldn't do jack shit about it.
Huh.
That was done in like a...
Wait, you guys were knocked out a minute ago.
That Reaper is slow. Can you imagine how much frustrating it must be to be a Reaper, to have a mind capable of contemplating the infinite, but all you've got is a laser eye that is apparently in need of vision, in need of like glasses, or maybe you're lagging, and it's got a 2-minute cooldown.
That's it. He had a bad Wi-Fi connection on Tuchanka.
So then Calros, or whatever his name is, bites the Reaper face.
Well, it's a good thing these things don't ever evolve to be sentient, because man, the Reapers would be screwed.
Yep.
I mean, they're spacefaring too. I mean, the idea is that their spores go all over the place through space.
These are like the organic answer to the Reapers.
I take offense to that. There is absolutely no way a creature of that size could support itself with any kind of musculature.
Or that it could tunnel. Yeah, I mean, but this is, goes back to the first game. The idea of a Thresher Maw was introduced then, so you bought the ticket in the first game.
Josh,
so now we're
I
taking
feel
the
kind
ride.
of bad that I only died once on that segment there, and not even against anything that I hated about. Because I spent about a half hour doing that over and over again, getting stomped by the Reaper, until I figured out how to get past it.
We'll stabilize new government should Rex get any ideas. Good match. Promising future for Krogan.